Did you know a survey by YouGov Direct found that 48% of Americans stated the beach was their favorite vacation destination? We'll discuss this and other interesting facts about our love of beaches on this episode of The Curious Professor. Hi everyone, I'm Dr. B. Welcome to the Curious Professor podcast, where I take listeners on a journey of discovery to explore the people, places, artifacts, and natural wonders that spark my curiosity. On this episode of the Curious Professor podcast, we'll discuss the importance of beaches in our lives with writer Jenn Shon. But first, a trivia question. What creates the black sand on beaches like those in Hawaii or Iceland? I'll have the answer for you at the end of this episode. I'm thrilled to have writer Jenn Shon on the show today. Jenn is an 11 times published author. Her most recent release, You Classy Beach, or Are Mermaids Always This Snarky, is her first essay collection. It encompasses her life's ridiculousness spent on various beaches around the world. Creative life is Jenn's full-time pursuit. She is a solopreneur, micropress publishing house owner, artist, and author. Her published works include the Shaw McLary Mystery Series, California Dreamin' Series, and Creative Writing Kickstart, as well as essays in the anthologies Midlife on Fire and Journeys to Authorship. Welcome to the show, Jenn. It's great to have you here.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited.
What is the most unique thing about you?
Okay, so I love this question. It's so interesting. I have never been asked this before in my life, which is maybe weird, but I have thought about this a little bit, and I actually think it's that I try to live as guilt-free as possible, which I know might sound strange, but I'm only going around once that I know of, so I'm all about live for the moment and YOLO and life is short and all of those cliches because if you don't go do things for yourself, you're never going to be able to do something for someone else. The airplane mask theory and all of that. I just try to live guilt-free and just pursue what it is that I need to do for me before I do things for other people.
You recently participated in an anthology called Journeys to Authorship. Tell us about that project.
Yeah, I loved being part of that project. Such an incredible group of people. And I have to tell you, I thought I knew these people because I've been in groups with them for a very long time, but what a trip. I got to learn so much about so many people, like I said, that I thought I already knew. Ann Vidian, who runs the Always group, the incomparable Ann Vidian, I should say, she rounded us all up, and she and the selection committee allowed my journey to end up in the book, which was awesome. And writing that story, telling my author origin story, just getting to write again, that was pretty awesome. And to be a part of something that I knew was going to help other authors, I really wrote my story with that in mind pretty much the whole time. I wanted to give some advice and tips and just inspo, if I could, to new writers or someone who was coming back after a long absence, because that's what I was doing. I hadn't published in a really long time. And so I thought, well, if I was just coming back for a first time or a long time out, what would my nudge be? So I used that and just went with it. And wow, what a fun time and such an incredible group of writers. Every story is so uniquely different and so beautifully written. So much fun taking part in that experience.
And what is unique about your journey to authorship?
I would say I'm not literary at all as a person, probably evidenced by my use of the word most of the time. But this industry is so strange where there are so many different factions of people. But I didn't graduate from college. I don't write every day. Blasphemy, I know, but it's true. I also don't even read every day. And I took 7 years off since the last time I wrote a book. But I feel like every single author has their own way and the track that they're supposed to pursue. And for me, I think not being those things has made me just able to develop a voice that I really feel like comes through on the page a lot more than if I was a super literary writer. This is just me bled out there. So
And you are the author of a new essay collection, You Classy Beach. Tell us about that.
yeah, it's my favorite. I'm so excited. I'm honestly, I'm stupid proud of this book. It's my first book that I have ever had fully in many iterations professionally edited. I also have a professional cover done for this one, and it was proofread. So for me, this is huge. I run my own publishing house. So I publish only my own books at this time. That could change in the future, but for now, it's just me. And I really, really wanted this one to be basically as tight as it could possibly be. I wanted it to be the best possible representation of me as a writer. You Classy Beach is the name of the book, as you said, and it's a memoir style collection of essays. They document my ridiculousness on various beaches across the world. And the whole voice there started when I began my first blog, which happened in the Stone Ages, as I like to call it, back in 2007. And that was called Randomness and Lunacy. I so loved writing that blog, and I did it for about 11 years. That fully helped me develop the voice that I used in this book. And even though I knew when I was writing the blog that I wanted to write a book that was in that voice and in that vein, it took me a really long time to do that because I took so many detours along the way. And well, for example, one of those is I ran a crafting YouTube channel for about 4 years. I ran a furniture refinishing YouTube channel for about 3 years. And I actually even went so far as to do copywriting and ghostwriting because I wanted to put some cash in my pocket while I was doing my author life. But when the Mister and I moved to New York, unfortunately, I was one of many, many, many people who live in this area of the country who refinish furniture, excuse me. So I kind of had to downshift from that because I knew I couldn't insert myself into an industry that was already well established in this area. And I said to myself, if there was ever a better time to write this book, that I could collect all of these beach stories and really just go for it, this is the time. So it took me about a year. The book came out in July 26th of this year, and I started in August of 2023 with getting my stories together. But yeah, once I did and I started getting into it, it was like, this is what I was meant to do all along. I'm so, like I said, super, super proud of this book.
What did you find most challenging about writing personal essays?
Hmm. So I think realizing that I was going to release them into the world for people to read. I've been on the internet for a long time, and I know people can be cruel, but it's also people can be amazing. It's such a strange world out there. I know I'm not everybody's cup of coffee, as they say, but I did try to like battle against feeling that my personality was too much or too big or too out there or too raw or just too honest about the things that I was writing. So I just had to kind of suck it up and go with it and let the fear go in favor of like the flow of the story.
And what did you enjoy most about writing personal essays?
Writing in that voice again. I loved writing in that voice. I hadn't done it on the blog since 2018. So kind of getting that juice going again was honestly super fun. And I had so much fun doing it. I'm actually already working on the next collection of essays, which I know we'll talk about later, but that was definitely very cool to just kind of get that inspiration going too.
And do you have any tips for people who would like to write a personal essay but aren't sure how to go about it?
Yes, just right. It sounds ridiculously obvious, but so many of us make excuses for why we aren't going to like just put those words down on paper. If you're a person who is listening to this and you feel really drawn to writing personal essays, the number one thing I'm going to remind you is that nobody reads it unless you want them to. If you feel very strongly about wanting to do some personal essays, just write. Just write. Get a pen and a pad, boot up your tech of choice, however you want to do it, and just write. Because it's not only freeing, but it's also, if it's a need that's so heavy in you that you want to do it, you won't be happy until you do. So just go for it.
And in your book, you mention you've been to beaches in multiple countries on multiple continents with many different people. Which beach has been your favorite and why?
So um, my answer is going to be super boring because they're both here in the United States. Sorry, but I love my United States beaches. Number one is Hummerock Beach in Hummerock, Mass. Excuse me. That is a part of Situate, Mass, and I actually grew up on that beach. The beach features on the cover of my new book. The cover of my new book is me at about 2 years old, and I'm standing on that beach. I'm holding a clamshell. I'm playing in the sand, and it's just that nostalgia, I think, for me, especially for Humrock, just having been there since I was born. Basically, it's where I grew up. And my second favorite beach is in California. It's in Southern California, but I am literally not telling anyone what it is because I want to get a parking spot there the next time I go. I mean, jokes aside, though, seriously, jokes aside, San Elijo Beach in California, love it. It's a surfer beach, so you can just kind of sit and watch the surfers surf. It's a great walking beach. Same with Humrock. I'm really a beach walker, and so to me, that's why. But if I was going to pick one of my international beaches to throw on that list, it would be St. Lucia because I don't think I will ever be able to top the experience that we had in St. Lucia. It was so much fun, and that place was just incredible.
You also state you always stumble on an adventure everywhere you go. Would you share one of your most interesting beach adventures with us?
Well, just last week, I actually went down to Hummerock Beach because I wanted to go into the small gift shop there. It's called Humming Rock Gifts, very adorable. They've been open since the 80s. And I wanted to pitch to the owner there to stock my book in their store. So that was super fun. She was just on her way out of town. It was such a whim, fast, spontaneous trip that the mister and I decided to take that I didn't really plan in advance too well. So it was just like, let's fly by the seat of my pants and see if she'll just talk to me today. And it was definitely fun. And I don't know if she's going to stock it yet. We haven't had the full conversation yet, but I'm really hopeful because when you apply to college and you apply to like community college and Harvard, she's like MIT for me, basically. That shop, I would love to get in there. But on top of that, while we were there, I went out and I bought myself a red and white striped shirt so that I would match what I was wearing on the cover. And the mister and I did a little photo shoot on the beach with the exact houses in the background of where the cover was shot. So that would have been 49 years ago that my cover was shot by my mom. And now my husband has taken pictures of me in the exact same spot, which that was so fun. And we got a lot of side eyes from people on the beach. I can't say I'm surprised. Like, who are these weirdos coming out here taking pictures in a very specific spot? But it was so much fun. Oh, and as a side note, because I did all of that stuff, I can write off the whole trip. So that was pretty amazing.
And what new projects are you currently working on?
I have a ton of stuff that I'm tying into the book. This is going to be an entire branded experience for me. I'm going to be creating this fall and winter custom art and jewelry collections. Most of the pieces that I'm using in those collections were either acquired at or are inspired from the beaches that are in the book. And on top of that, I'm also posting regular vlogs on my channel, my YouTube channel for You Classy Beach. So I'm doing like behind the scenes and fun ridiculousness and the adventures that the Mister and I get up to on that channel as well. And that's really been like the big bulk of what I've been working on for the last month or so. But I am, like I said, already working on the next collection of essays, and I'm super looking forward to this one because it's all about how pop culture helped shape my life and informed a lot of the things that I know and the choices that I've made and the way that I've gone like with my career and stuff too. So I'm already having a great time pulling that together, but I have to remind myself I'm still promoting this book. So this has been a fun journey too. And this one I think is just going to be out there forever because I really like making art. I like making jewelry and other collections and video as well to go with all of that stuff. So that's been truly a fun experience getting that together. And yeah, looking forward to the future.
And where can listeners find out more about you?
So they can find out about my stuff over at youclassybeach.com. And when you get over to my website, sign up for my newsletter. It's called Consistently Inconsistent, and it is called that for a reason. I'm definitely not going to spam you. In fact, you may never hear from me for months in a row. I'm very inconsistent with that kind of stuff. But if you want to know like the behind the scenes, the creative process, book news, anything that's going on with the collections or anything like that, that is where to go. youclassybeach.com and sign up for the newsletter.
It was great to have you on the show, Jen. Thank you so much for taking time to be a guest on the Curious Professor podcast.
Thank you, Karen. I had such a good time, and I really appreciate you interviewing me.
And now for the answer to this episode's trivia question. What creates the black sand on beaches like those in Hawaii or Iceland? Black sand beaches on volcanic islands like Hawaii or Iceland are formed from lava, which shatters when it hits the water. According to the Ocean Conservancy, lava from a volcanic eruption can create black sand on beaches overnight. We'll end the show with something punny. What did the ocean say to the lifeguard? Nothing. It just waved. Thank you for joining me for this episode of the Curious Professor podcast. If there's a person, place, artifact, or natural wonder that has sparked your curiosity and you'd like for me to feature it on the show, please let me know. My website is thecuriousprofessorpodcast.com. If you enjoyed the show, be sure to subscribe to the Curious Professor podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you'd like to become part of my community of curiosity seekers, be sure to visit my website, thecuriousprofessorpodcast.com, and join Dr. B's Hive. Until next time, always be learning and be curious with Dr. B.